In Howard County, we pride ourselves on providing a high quality of life for all of our residents, where families can prosper and children can grow in a safe and loving environment. Unfortunately, abuse and neglect are a tragic reality that many children in our community still face today. This April, as we recognize Child Abuse Prevention Month, we stand together as a community to condemn all forms of child abuse and neglect, stress the importance of supporting families to prevent neglect, and work together as a community to ensure the very best for all of our children. Our Child Advocacy Center, also known as the Listening Place, has proved to be an incredible resource for many children and families. In 2021 alone, they helped serve 175 of our children. 175, 176 in 2021 and 193 in 2019. I'm so grateful for the hard work and the partnership of the Listening Places, Lieutenant Heavner, the entire police department, many of whom are here today. Thank you for your work, not just in this issue, but ensuring that our community is safe and feels safe. Our team at the state's attorney's office, who have been a remarkable partner, a model that many other jurisdictions should aspire to. Our Department of Social Services, who have been that safety net for our most vulnerable during the most challenging time in our world's history, and so many other advocates and volunteers. This year, as the Listening Place celebrates its 30th anniversary, it can also celebrate its reaccreditation from the National Children's Alliance. This reaccreditation affirms the hard work and commitment of our Child Advocacy Center to provide safety and healing for our children and families. It speaks volume to the labor of love to ensure struggling families and children have access to the best quality of life and can reach their fullest potential. There is child abuse at all socioeconomic levels, regardless of educational level, religious affiliation, ethnic or cultural background. Every stage and aspect of a child's life is negatively impacted by abuse or neglect. When our children are abused, they become less likely to succeed in school. They have a harder time establishing relationships with loved ones and peers. Child abuse and neglect is one of the most devastating tragedies still in our society. And prevention is one of the most important tools to end it. For our children to be raised in a safe, loving, healthy environment, we must support and uplift our families and individuals in our community. Now is the time to reach out to someone you know who might be struggling and offer a helping hand. Help a busy friend at the grocery store with their list or drop off a meal. Do what you can to brighten someone's day and limit stressors on families. Making life just a little bit easier can help prevent child abuse and neglect. At the same time, please be aware and willing to report something if you have any concerns about child abuse or neglect. We want to do everything to keep our children safe and our families thriving together. If you need to report child abuse or neglect, I urge you to call the CPS reporting line at 410-872-4203. To mark Child Abuse and Prevention Month, I'm proud to present this proclamation, and it reads, Howard County is dedicated to the safe and healthy development of children, increasing awareness of child abuse prevention, and maximizing our support of the youngest and most vulnerable victims of abuse. And whereas our network of prevention efforts are thanks to valuable partnerships among law enforcement, human service agencies, legal experts, healthcare providers, mental health professionals, and others who offer a path to protection and healing from suffering. And whereas Howard County government proudly joins our accredited Child Advocacy Center to reinforce our commitment to reporting and addressing issues of child abuse in our community through thoughtful programs, services, and legislation. Now, therefore, I, Calvin Ball, County Executive of Howard County, Maryland, do hereby proclaim April 2022 Child Abuse Prevention Month in Howard County, Maryland. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for all that you do.
I couldn't be more proud to recognize the reaccreditation and truly outstanding work of the Child Advocacy Center here in Howard County. And it's certainly appropriate during National Child Abuse Prevention Month. The Howard County CAC is truly a model for other jurisdictions around the country. During the reaccreditation process, the assessors made clear that our CAC was one of the top in the entire nation. This is a testament to the great work of all of our partners, most of them here today, leaders and leadership of Erica Hevner, Lieutenant Erica Hevner, commander of the Family Crimes Sexual Assault Division. When people band together to care about the well-being of children and work to prevent these crimes in our communities, our collective efforts make a difference. We truly join forces at our Child Advocacy Center, a collaboration of police, prosecutors, counselors, medical professionals, and advocates who aid young victims of child abuse. Last year, the CAC served 175 children between the ages of 1 month and 17 years old. Nearly 75% of those victims were females. It's a team effort to ensure that child victims' needs are met, from the time they first report being victimized, through the grieving and recovery process, into the court system, and beyond. It takes special people to do this job. They see things that most of us wouldn't even want to imagine. In law enforcement, cases involving children are often the toughest. And that's what these committed detectives and our partners do every day. From sexual abuse to physical abuse, child neglect, and fatalities, our CAC members are here to serve the needs of our victims. We have to put forth additional focus on the overwhelming task of addressing child pornography in our community. And we recently added runaways to the victims served by the center, as many of these children are trying to escape abusive environments. We know that bad things can happen everywhere, and Howard County is not immune. But we want every child to have the ability to heal, both physically and emotionally, and move on to have a productive life. Our collaborative efforts make that possible. Thank you for being here to recognize our great facility and for being a part of the fight to protect victims of child abuse in Howard County.
I've been prosecuting these cases for over 30 years. Along with my team, we've handled countless cases involving victims of child abuse. I was one of the first prosecutors to benefit from the Child Advocacy Center and its multidisciplinary approach to investigating and prosecuting our child abuse cases. When the CAC first began, our prosecution team of attorneys would walk over to the little house just located behind the police department and gather in the basement of a renovated home. It was a child-friendly place that was aptly named the Listening Place. Through the collaboration of partner agencies involved in the Child Advocacy Center, we're able to provide a child-friendly place for children to come and talk about the abuse that children have suffered at the hands of someone who is either a family member or someone in a position of trust to them. Through the protocols that were gathered and designed, we provide a thorough investigation while limiting the amount of times that children have to come and talk to someone who is a stranger to them. We provide a place for the children to receive services from a trauma therapist, and we have an expert pediatric physician who conducts medical exams in appropriate cases, all done at the Listening Place. Over the years, many child advocacy centers throughout the state and the country have visited our center, as we have been a role model to others. The state's attorney's office team at the Child Advocacy Center consists of a child victim advocate who provides resources and information to the children and their families to support them through not only the initial disclosure and crisis that occurs when someone comes forth and tells about child abuse, but continues to support them through court preparation and court accompaniment. We also have a team of prosecutors known as the Special Victims Unit. who provide guidance as the case is investigated and then follow the case through to prosecution. These are committed prosecutors who are specially trained to work with child victims and who take on these extremely difficult cases with compassion. Before I close, I'd like to leave you with a memorable story of how important the Child Advocacy Center is to the victims and families of child abuse. We prosecuted a case involving a child who had been abused by someone in a position of trust. The case went forward after the disclosure and was prosecuted, and a conviction was maintained. The mom of the victim created a piece of artwork that still hangs in the Child Advocacy Center today. It is a handmade picture made of over 100 origami doves that hung in the Child Advocacy Center home above the fireplace, but now hangs on one of the walls in the new center, where people can come in and victims can see and observe this piece of art that signifies the hope and the healing for all that have been victimized. We are so grateful to the vision of those who created the Listening Place, and congratulations on the reaccreditation and the 30 years of service to this community. It has brought forth such hope and healing to our children. Thank you.
Every April, we recognize National Abuse Month and recognize the important work of organizations that presented before me, the Child Advocacy Center, the Police Department, State's Attorneys, and the Department of Social Services. And through their collective work in the community, serving children and their families in meaningful, impactful ways so that they can thrive even through adversity. In 2021, Howard County Department of Social Services had received over 1,500 reports of abuse or neglect, with 500 of those resulting in a direct response by Child Protective Services. CBS staff respond to assess safety of the children, but with a primary focus on how best to support families in remaining intact and connecting with needed services to address this report and prevent future ones. Where possible, DSS first goal is always to partner with families and parents and families, focusing on their strengths to help children, youth, build resilience, and be able to move from this interaction with DSS better and stronger. National Child Abuse Month is not just about bringing awareness of the reality of child abuse and neglect to the community. It's also about recognizing and acknowledging things we can do to prevent abuse and neglect, and making it easy for families to access basic needs and support services and learn how to identify and build on their strengths. It's about a community like Howard County identifying what is needed to reduce incidents of abuse and implementing those strategies. It's about working with each other, state and local governments, community nonprofits, citizens, advocating for and providing our families with the support they need, working to reduce risk factors such as economic stressors and other societal issues that can make parenting challenging. By reducing these vulnerabilities through strengths-based approaches that truly support families, we can begin to mitigate child abuse and neglect and improve outcomes of children, youth, and families. Providing all families with an equal opportunity to those needed supports, we can help improve safety and well-being. I'm excited to be here to celebrate the reaccreditation of the Child Advocacy Center Listening Place. Howard County DSS is privileged to work with such great partner as the Child Advocacy Center. It makes what some of the hardest work we can do a little bit easier, to work with such committed professionals, police detectives, state's attorneys, counselors, all with a common mission to protect children and support our families in Howard County. It's an honor to be a great part of a great team. In closing, I want to acknowledge the social workers on our Child Protective Services team. They've been in the front lines every day, going into the community, ensuring the safety of children and families. Thank you.
For the last 30 years, several agencies have come together to create the Listening Place, which is Howard County's Child Advocacy Center. The mission of the CAC is to reduce the trauma that children experience when they reach out for help to leave a dangerous environment. Before we had an advocacy center, children who disclosed abuse would have to tell their story over and over and over again to the police, to the social workers, to the prosecutors, and to all of these other people who only wanted to help these children. But by having them relive their abuse over and over again, these children were sometimes re-victimized by the very systems that were designed to help them. The CAC brings together many resources under one roof. The police, CPS, state's attorneys, we all conduct our investigations there. There's a doctor who is a specialist in pediatric abuse who can provide care and treatment for injuries. We have a trauma therapist who can meet with children and help them develop skills to overcome adverse childhood experiences. And our advocates are there to help the child and their family navigate this entire process. Having all of these resources in the same place in a facility that is specifically designed to be child-friendly helps reduce the number of times that these children have to relive the absolute worst experiences of their lives. While these agencies and partnerships and resources are what make us work, it's actually the individual team members who make us successful at achieving the goal of providing the best possible outcome for children who experience abuse. Each and every member of our multidisciplinary team, they make the conscious decision every day that they want to come to work and make a difference in a child's life. We have detectives, social workers, prosecutors, advocates, and mental and medical health professionals who have spent upwards of 20 years participating in the CAC's mission. That level of dedication and that decision to spend each and every day committed to improving the lives of children and knowing that helping a child is an investment in our community's future is what truly makes us successful. And I just want to say thank you to Executive Ball and to all of our executive committee members at the CAC for recognizing Child Abuse Prevention Month, and thank you all for participating. Thank you.